Okay. Now, what was the story we were going to go into?
Well,
The van?
yeah, but maybe you can kind of start, that about the trip, going to Europe.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've got the beginning with Richard and the car and all that, but if you say, that you and Mom and Gary went to Europe
Yeah.
and leave it to Richard,
Yeah.
here he had, and then go into the
Yeah.
van story.
Yeah. We flew to Germany to go visit Richard. He had also planned on taking a leave, a furlough, and so we met him. I don't remember the little community where he was staying at, but it was very quaint little German house and everything. It was like a little motel, or they rented the rooms, but it was just real charming, and the woods were very pretty, and it looked like the war didn't affect it. But I going to visit Germany, I just had funny feelings about it. I just felt, I was still kind of, they were the enemy, basically. But it turned out to be very, very nice. And when he greeted us in a van that had some paintings on the side. It was a kind of a commercial van, and it had a sliding door, but it was metal, and to look out from it, you had to slide the door open, or part way or so forth. And he had like an extra seat in the back, like a solid long door, couch or something back there, and that's what we sat back there. We take turns in there, and if I sat in the front a little bit, then Carmen would sit out looking, and Gary would look out the other side out. But the view wasn't very, very pleasant, and so we alternated on that trip, and so we did a tour, and we met a friend of Richard's while we were there in that town, that he had made a friend with a German guy, and he was in the German army, and so he introduced us to him. He was real German, and I asked him what he did. He said he was anti-aircraft. Oh, anti-aircraft. Oh, he shot up at me. And I said, yeah, we're bombing. Yeah, boy, I used to love bombing Germany. I told him. But as we toured around, we went to a bar to have lunch because they had food there and everything else. And if anybody could look over the bar, they would serve you a drink. So Gary, I think, could just barely look over at the bar that height. So they would give him a small beer or something like that, or a soda or something. But that was the ruling that they had. And it was a very interesting trip, and we traveled all over. We went through Germany. We went through Munich. I didn't want to go through Munich, and Richard said, we're going to go this route through Munich. I said, I was here like 3 times or 4 times in Munich, and as we drove around, you could see the buildings that were, damaged and blown up and everything. I said, good. I was thinking, good. I just didn't forgive them for any of that stuff that they did. It was, so when we did hit Paris, we went to Paris and we were walking. Richard dropped us off, and he had to go do something, go visit somebody, and so he left us there. And we were walking, and Gary was walking with us, and then he just sat down in the curb. He said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to sit right here. And Carmen said, come on. And then she said, I know what it is. He hasn't eaten. So we went into a little place, a little restaurant where they served little appetizers and stuff like that. So he ate, and then he was okay. But once he ate, he was fine. And we had planned on meeting Richard at a certain hour. I believe it was like late afternoon, about 6 o'clock, right by the Eiffel Tower. and we were going to meet him there. So we took our tour up the tower and looked around. A very beautiful view. And when we came down and we're waiting for him, and then Carmen asked me, well, which way is he going to come by? I said, what do you mean? Yeah, well, what way is he going to come? He's going to come. I said, I don't know. How am I going to know what? No, I don't know if he's going to come behind us this way, you know. But she thought like, oh, well, you expect him to come this way. I never forgot that. And sure enough, we're waiting, and then we see his van, like I pointed out, and then comes his van. There he is, you know. So we waved him and got together with him, and then started going on our trip again. So very, very, at the time, I guess that was pretty good. When you're younger, you can take all that. You don't have as much of the luxuries of restaurants and stuff like that. We did it as traveling people, but it was very, very nice tour of Europe to begin with. Then later on, my wife and I went and did the tours again. So.